and like first year was little bit up and down, but now everything is good. So we thought of restarting everything, and we got really huge response this time because as we moved ahead in our academic career, we also got to know new people. So we could invite them as well, and then we could also reach out to you.
All right, thanks so much for this wonderful initiative. And
Yeah.
Mr. Rajguru, you're talking from Germany now?
Yes, sir. It's 6 o'clock in the morning.
I see. And Satyarth, you're based in Delhi, right? New
Delhi, yes.
And
Yes,
you are here a student, I guess, right?
yes, I'm project associate at CSIR IGI.
No, earlier you were in my university.
Yes, I was a student, yes. 21 batch at CUPB, yes.
MSc, which one? Zoology or what?
Microbiology.
Microbiology, I see.
Yes.
Nice.
I know Saujanya Shekhar, he's from my batch.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Right.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, so
Great.
how do you want this particular program to progress? So are you going to record it? Are you going to ask some questions, I guess, right? And you will be streaming live, or you're going to record and edit and put on the YouTube?
Yes, sir, we are live now, and we
Okay,
will
all right.
ask some questions
All right.
regarding your scientific journey, and,
Yep.
and later we will ask some audience questions if they have any.
Right.
And yeah, so I think we should start there. Yeah?
Yeah. Sure.
Yep, sure. So I hope that we are live. So maybe somebody can give me a green signal by. Okay, perfect. So we are live, and okay. So I am Dhairya Rajguru, and today with my co-host Satya Pandey, we would like to host Professor Felix Bast. So I would minutes, we would have Professor Felix sharing his stories on scientific journey and how he came from the root and now very good name in science communication as well as in field of marine biodiversity and I would say botanical biology. So I think I would like to tell my co-host today and also Bhakti to start the event and with a kind introduction of Professor Bast. Bhakti, please introduce Professor Felix.
Thank you. So let me quickly introduce you all to our today's speaker. Professor Felix Bast is a distinguished Indian biologist, researcher, and educator renowned for his contributions to the fields of phycology, genomics, and microbiology. His life and career are marked by numerous significant achievements and milestones that have cemented his reputation as a leading figure in biological sciences. Felix Bast's early fascination with the natural world led him to pursue higher education in the biological sciences. He holds a B.Sc with the first rank from Kannur University. His MSc was from the University of Madras Guindy campus. He joined as CSIR Junior Research Fellow at the Department of Chemical Engineering, IIT Bombay. He left IIT Bombay to join PhD in Marine Biology from Kochi University, Shikoku Island, Japan, as MEXT scholar. His doctoral research focused on the molecular systematics and biogeography of marine macroalgae. India and joined the Central University of Punjab, Bathinda, as an assistant professor. Throughout his career, Professor Bast has received numerous accolades, such as the prestigious Young Scientist Award by the Indian National Science Academy. Dr. Bast served as an in-resident intern with the President of India at Rashtrapati Bhavan as an inspired teacher in 2015. He received the Ministry of Education's Teaching Innovator Award in 2019 and the DST Inspired Faculty Award in 2012. Dr. Bast served as an expedition scientist at Indian Antarctic Mission in 2016-17 and conducted research at India's Antarctic stations, Bharti and Maitri. Beyond his research, Professor Bast is actively involved in science communication and public outreach. He has delivered numerous lectures and workshops aimed at popularizing science and has been a vocal advocate for science education and literacy. Currently, Professor Felix Bast continues to serve as a professor at the Central University of Punjab, where he leads a dynamic research group. His ongoing projects include studies on the impact of climate change on marine biodiversity and the development of sustainable biotechnological applications using algal resources. Professor Felix Bast's life is a testament to his unwavering dedication to the advancement of biological sciences. His contributions as a researcher, educator, and science communicator have left an indelible mark on the field and continue to inspire future generations. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Bhakti, for the kind introduction. I hope Professor Felix, it was correct without.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you so much, Bhakti, for taking time. It was really a long introduction. Yeah, so we're going to
Yes.
start.
Perfect. So the first question for today journey, and also from the audience that was asked a lot, was that what initially sparked your interest in the natural world and led you to pursue a career in biological sciences, especially in marine biodiversity?
Oh, okay, that's very interesting. So basically, I'm from Kerala, a rural background. Actually, I'm from a village side. The village is called Korom village, and I went to a government school. In Kerala, the government schools are still highly reputed compared with the private school. And even the rich kids go to the government school, and most of this, NEET or JEE, all the toppers are coming from the government school. A lot of demand is there. Well, in my government school, I studied in Malayalam medium. Till class 10th, it was completely in Malayalam. No English. I mean, English as one subject I studied, but yeah, otherwise it's in Malayalam. So we have been. I think I would say in Kerala, it's a privilege to be in Kerala at that time. That Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad, one of the very famous organization for the grassroots level science communication, was very active then, and even today. And I'm also a part of that organization. So that organization do release, it is periodical, a science periodical called Eureka for the preschool as well as the lower primary school students. Then Shastra Kiradam for upper primary as well as for the high school students. So I used to read it regularly and look forward to the next episode of it. Next issue of it. So, and also I was part of the Indian Institute of Science, the initiative, several of these initiatives by the Madhu Gadgil for citizen science. For instance, Escape. So I did surveys on butterfly diversity as well as the bird diversity in my locality. So those things are actually, a big influencer for me to insight, to spark that curiosity, to know the nature better.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So and then when did you shift your research interest specifically to the marine biodiversity and and basically also the botanical side? Because usually people get interested and influenced by maybe cancer or something like in cell biology, molecular biology, or immunology. But there are very few scientists who go in, the marine biodiversity side.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I read many things. I'm innately curious about the world that we are living in, isn't it? So, yeah, there is actually something called curiosity-driven and utility-driven. Early on, I read a very influential essay on, about this why utilitarian, curiosity-driven rather than curiosity is something like, the blue skies research, right? Non-applied research. Why that is not a useless research. The essay, I think it was 1972 by Abraham Flexner. The usefulness of useless knowledge. Please look it up, the audience of this. So that was a turning point in my life. So you see, many of the things that we take it for granted today are from the utility driven. It's not coming from utility driven. It's from the utility driven. And also, many things I read about the ocean really incited my curiosity. For instance, we just passed the June 5th World Environment Day. Throughout the world, not just merely in India, that this day is being celebrated by planting trees, isn't it? And if I ask a simple question that, to close your eyes and imagine the planet's natural oxygen factory, the phrase that might actually come to you, the image of trees, isn't it? Like a forest canopy full of trees, yeah? What if I say it's a myth? Yeah, so 68% of the oxygen that we breathe in the atmosphere, that is 2 times every three breath that we take in, coming from ocean. So oceanic picoplankton, Prochlorococcus, Cyanococcus, completely in all these university syllabus, right? Except in botany majors, right? So people don't even know about these 2 species of the cyanobacteria. That is producing most of the oxygen in the air that we breathe. And what are we doing for it? So all these things actually influenced me to choose this, marine botany, a field which is rather niche. And so looking back, I think my choice was really, endowing, because, choosing this kind of niche field comes with certain limitations, especially with the fundings as well as the journal. So not many special journals are there, and the journals on those fields do have very low impact factor. So getting a job, even if you have some of the very great papers, are really tough in universities which looking for only at this H index and impact factor. That is one thing. And also winning grant in this kind of field is really tough, to convince someone to fund for this, although it is extremely an important topic. But even then, after a PhD, I did my PhD from Japan, and after my PhD, I decided to come back to be here in India. The main reason is that, India is being a tropical and subtropical country. The biodiversity is really rich compared with you see Rajguru. Recently I was there for a sabbatical. So in Germany, the kind of like the flora and fauna is kind of monotonous, while in India it's really rich, right? But unfortunately, though we are we are biodiversity rich, we are really resource poor. The trained taxonomists are also kind of absent. Even taxonomy is highly sidelined. Everyone wants in botany, for example, everyone want to choose topics like genomics or proteomics, transcriptomics, all those omics, So people think that, okay, it has got a huge scope. That is one reason why this field is highly sidelined everywhere in the world, but especially here in India, because we are already resource poor too. But then decision to stay back here was really productive. I would say 7 new species I found. So had I been settled in Canada or in Japan or Germany or US, it's very difficult to find a new species, especially this macroscopic algae, because all these macroscopic life has already been, well studied. Of course, there are prospects do exist for microbiological taxonomy, because the world is still, we know only the tip on the iceberg. But for macroscopic life, taxonomists have been working for such a long time. It's very difficult to discover a new species. And I'm happy that 2 of my discoveries got into the BBC front page. I suppose in Punjab at least, any research getting into the BBC, even Guardian featured it, something to get into the Guardian in the UK, very privileged newspaper. So I'm really happy about it.
That's really fascinating, sir. Even I'm so fascinated by diatoms. They are now being employed as a sustainable energy generation. So this is also very fascinating. So, sir, as you have mentioned that you have completed your PhD in Japan. So, how was your experience in Japan with MEXT scholarship? And what are the 3 things?
Oh, well, it's a big, topic. It's a lot of things I can speak on Japan. The scholarship, the MEXT is a very scholarship, but every year. So around 2-3 seats per discipline. Like in biological sciences, there are 3 seats available, and yeah, it is a great opportunity for me to learn an entirely new culture and a new language. Had I went for US, for example, or English speaking Europe, most of the Europe you can survive at least by English. You don't really need to learn that language, right? But in Japan, it's not the case. You have to learn it. Even day-to-day communication with my supervisor was in Japanese, right? And even my thesis, the abstract was in Japanese. Well, the abstract is same in Germany and France too, isn't it? But yeah, so day-to-day communication in Japanese was something completely new to me. So when I went over there, first 1 year, I spent on intensive Japanese language program. And after coming back, it has been 14 years. I'm working here in this university in Bathinda, rural Punjab. I do teach Japanese, so because it's such a beautiful language, otherwise I will completely forget it, right? Then what's the point of learning that language? So yeah, that is pretty interesting. And also, I don't know how many of you know, the Japanese is quite similar to the South Indian languages. Malayalam is the language which I speak. Subject, verb, object. The syntax is quite same, and the way you construct the language, and the absence of the linguistic gender, so many similarities are there. So I think it's so much easier for Indians, especially South Indians, to pick up the Japanese language. Yeah. And yeah, so coming to Japan, the scholarship you said, MEXT scholarship, basically that was the first time I ever took a flight. You see, I was in IIT Bombay that time doing my PhD. When I got this scholarship, I was really shocked. And yeah, then when I got this scholarship I took a flight from Mumbai all the way to Tokyo Narita Airport. And I will never forget it, because while going there, well, I'm from such a humble background. You see, my father was a school teacher, and I was actually, I somehow I managed some money, because I don't know how I can survive in Japan, such an expensive, high income country, for the first month. The airport, and they served me a nice cup of green tea, the Japanese green tea, and handed over me a small envelope. So the envelope contains 3 months of fellowship in addition to the fellowship which I received. I will never forget that. It was a huge kindness from that ministry. And yeah, so they later explained to me that they were not expecting anything from a student coming from a low-income country to come to Japan. So they really need to provide us with this establishment allowance. So that is something really remarkable. And during my 5-year stay in Japan, after interacting with so many people, I never really experienced racism. And they were rather very respectful towards Indians because of 2 things. One is mathematics, and second one, well, Gautama Buddha, right? It is the world of wisdom, according to them. And another thing which I came to know from many interactions with the Japanese is that most of them will never forget. After the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, when Japan was really at the rock bottom, Jawaharlal Nehru, that time, he sent an act of kindness to Japan. One elephant, it was 1 or 2 elephants, I don't remember. It was an elephant sent to the Tokyo, Ueno Dobutsuan, that is the zoo, Ueno Zoo. And that elephant, they took it as an act of kindness from India, and it is etched there. Even still today, there is a statue of that elephant in Ueno Zoo. And most of the Japanese, even today, remember that act.
It's wonderful.
That's really great. I mean, it really inspires me as well. I think our audience, the participants, also to go to Japan, because it's a really, I would say there are very few students who go for PhD, masters, or even postdoc to Japan.
Yes.
So maybe this could be a really inspiring and motivating words for everybody. So now moving ahead, so when you returned to India after Japan. So what was your thought during that time? Like, you wanted to go back to India, or like, of course, everybody wants to serve the country. So
Yeah.
like,
Yes. I actually
and
got
then
MEXT scholarship, and you see that MEXT is that I'm not applying. I've never applied to Japan directly. You see, I
Mhm.
applied to the Ministry of Education and
I
the
see.
Ministry of Education of the Government of India. So then they will shortlist, they conduct the interview, and they nominate the names to the Japanese embassy. And when I
Mhm, mhm.
receive this order of selection, I have to sign a bond, right, with the Ministry of Education that after finishing my PhD, I will come back to India to serve the country at least for 1 year. That was the bond. Well, after 1 year,
Mhm.
I could have actually left anywhere, but I haven't. I didn't go. I didn't do that because I thought
Mhm.
staying back is really productive. And yeah,
I
so
see.
the initial thoughts after coming back, I actually felt super happy, really. So the work pressure was so much lesser in India. Japan, yeah. So in one sense, it is really workaholic. You see, my supervisor used to come even on holidays, and he expected me to work on holidays, something which I really didn't like it. But anyway, that was one thing in Japan. But then again, yeah, so many ups and downs. For example, the discipline. I really, yeah, the discipline have been, inculcated in my 5 years of the Japanese life. Punctuality, for example, I was so shocked to see that the work culture here in India don't really respect it. Meeting at
Yeah.
9 means people will turn up at 9:30, 9:45. You see, and yeah, so that kind of things I was not expecting. But there are so many shocking incidences here in India. I came back, for example, I had fever. So I went to a doctor, and then the doctor prescribed a medicine. And I see I had this bad habit then. Even today, I have that bad habit of looking it up in the internet, how it works. So is there any side effects or interaction between the drugs? So that day I did the same. And to my surprise, the first hit in the Google came out to be Gazette of Government of India. And you know what is that? 5 years before that day, the drug has been banned in the Republic of India. So that is one of the it's a turning point in my life, I would say. The people, you see,
I see.
people, once you get their degree, either MBBS or an MD or a PhD, like professors like me or academicians like we are, stop learning. So
I
that is
see.
something we really need to change in the society. That we when I was in Japan also, another experience I can share with that with you.
Mhm.
I had the toothache. I went to a dentist, a lady doctor in a government hospital over there. Asked me a question that, okay, you have this issue on your tooth. Do you know
Mhm.
how to brush your teeth properly? I was so shocked. Something like a passive aggression, or is it like a mild racism? I said, yeah, of course I've been brushing. And she asked me to show, okay, how do you brush your teeth? Show me that. And I shown, how do I brush? Then she corrected, it is not the way to brush the teeth, my friend. So she shown that the brush should actually touch in between your enamel and the gum. You see? And more than brushing, flossing is more important. You see, so many learning things, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so treating every time as every experience as an opportunity to learn something new. I think that is really important. That is really missing in our life. You see? Lifelong learning. I think I really want to emphasize on this interaction with you guys. That, yeah, that is, I think, something really we all have to do that, right? For the progress as a country and as a person, that you and me. Right? In
Mhm.
Germany also, Rajguru, I remember one of the very unforgettable experience I had in Berlin.
Mhm. Uh-huh.
So I went to a museum there called Topography of Terror. I'm not sure. Have you been to that interesting museum? So Topography,
Not yet.
yeah. This museum is basically by the German federal government, the taxpayers' money, right? That the
Uh-huh.
employees are all the German employees. When I went over there, every single exhibit of that museum is against the German past, showing
Oh,
the
oh.
world how bad we people were in 1920s till end of 1940s. Holocaust.
Okay.
And the entire, the atrocities committed by the Nazis and Hitler. So that was, they are actually self-reflecting, So that
Okay.
spirit I really like. It needs a lot of respect. Something we all have to follow. We have to actually dissect our own past, to criticize, and that's the only way we can make some progress. So that is exactly what the science is all about, isn't it?
That's true. I would definitely visit this museum when I go to Bombay. I see. Okay. So now moving ahead to the next question, that how did the receiving of Young Scientist Award by Indian National Science Academy in 2014 impacted your career, and how did you feel at that time?
I think there is some confusion. I never got this kind of award, and even the
Okay.
INSA don't have this award. Young scientist medal is there. I'm not a recipient of that young scientist medal. Maybe I think you got
Uh-huh.
confused about the INYAS, in the Indian National Young Academy of Sciences. I got inducted.
I think yes.
I got inducted in 2019. So that is also a prestige.
Yeah.
The next year, 2020, I became the National Core Committee representative after winning an election, for
Yeah.
biological sciences and medicine. So I think it's always good to work with the smart guys in India, and most of these people in India were coming from IIT and IISc and ISA. Very, very few people from universities. So that is something, this lopsided funding and lopsided, especially the funding is what I keep on criticizing. You see, that is something we really need to change. In India, you see, most of the funding for the research goes to IITs and IIS, ISA, these three institutes.
That's true.
While PhDs, they produce a very few PhDs every year, isn't it? Most of the PhDs are actually coming from state universities. I'm
Yeah.
not from state, I'm from Central University, but I would say that state universities really need a lot more funding, right? Unfortunately, they are completely overlooked, and state of affairs in the state universities are really pathetic. Many of these universities are struggling, I would say. So that is something we really need to change it. And another thing, accomplishment you can say that I got in 2015 is 1 week stay with President of India.
Yeah.
Something called inspiration. So that was again that it's an unforgettable moment in my life. Central University, you see, they identify the top performing faculties, and it's a conclave of all this one faculty award winner from each of the central universities. So we have around 45 awardees that time, and all of us were staying in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, multiple times meeting with Pranab Mukherjee. So Pranab was the president that time. So one of the moments I will never forget is that when during the interaction with the president, so the about like what is your opinion on improving the higher education status of this country. So we guys were speaking, the ladies and gents amongst us were speaking our points, right? So when we spoke, Honorable President was writing these points in a small notebook. I will never forget it. So that itself is an act of kindness, act of listening to mortals like the university faculty. Why should the president really take note of what we are speaking? That is, I really like it, that behavior. So that was that 1 week is I never got that kind of respect in my life. For example, when I went from Bathinda to Delhi, I took Punjab Mail, my favorite train, and after reaching Delhi, you see, I went by sleeper class. I really like sleeper class. Even today, that is my preference, not even AC. So in sleeper, I went over there, and of course, they can pay anything, right? Even I could have taken a taxi from here to go to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. I didn't do that. I took this train, and the moment I alighted in New Delhi station early morning, there were people wearing all black suit waiting to pick me up, to receive me from the platform. And then they took me to this Land Rover. You see, that was a bulletproof vehicle.
Yes.
This Rashtrapati Bhavan, it was unforgettable, I would say. Multiple interactions with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and also Arun Jaitley, and Sushma Sura. I mean, so many VVIP. Even Amitabh Bachchan, special screening of his movie, Pikku. That movie, the screening happened inside Rashtrapati Bhavan during that.
So, sir, staying at Rashtrapati Bhavan is like a dream come true. So, how it influenced?
Well, I think this is something like a something like a support, a morale booster that I got this opportunity to be part of that. Well, it is not just Felix going there. I'm representing my university and the entire academia. You see, I'm a representative of the academia. So I think it's a big privilege for the entire academia community of the country to get a chance to visit, and not just visit like an outsider, but I was an insider. I got a ID tag of the Rashtrapati Bhavan for this 1 week of my stay. I think it is a big honor, for the kindness of the then Rashtrapati. See, President of India is de facto visitors of all the central universities and other eminent institutions. But how many of the presidents actively take roles on influencing the governance as well as the research of these universities? Not many, right? So that time, Pranab Mukherjee was actually initiating. So I'm not sure that this kind of activities happened after Pranab left his, the president's role. So I'm really doubtful about it. So that was really a something, a learning curve for me. And also inside Rashtrapati Bhavan, I was kind of expecting something like Uber luxury, like a 5-star hotel kind of system, but it was not. It was more Victorian style, and of course there is a lot of thick carpets and no naked walls or naked windows. Even the cutleries, an entire cutlery set was having this Ashoka emblem, and it was all silverware, pure silverware. Even the napkins had that golden, this Ashoka emblem in it. But still, I feel that the environment is more Indian style, and it is very close to the Indianness. The way they designed this Rashtrapati Bhavan, I really appreciate that.
Okay.
I think that would be like the most awaited moment in your life, and also you would be still remembering each and every part.
Yes, I wrote a blog post. I might have missed so many things while in this brief interaction. You can search it out, Felix Bast or Rashtrapati Bhavan in the Google. I think it is there. They reported that, and it is there in my blog. So,
Definitely, I would like to read. So now moving ahead, so you also joined the journey to Antarctica in Indian Antarctic Mission. So can you shed some light on it, and also maybe like what were your contribution and how did you manage to like take up the entire journey? Would be really
what were the challenges?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if you remember, I told you about my my route, isn't it? So I used to read books of Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad. I still do. I do to contribute to them. In Malayalam, I write Malayalam. Recently, one of my book has been published by Kerala Bhasha Institute. The whole book in Malayalam. So this book is about Antarctic Mission. So early on in my school days, I read a book on Antarctic. And the book was about Endurance, the very famous ship by Ernest Shackleton, right? Celebrated UK English explorer, who couldn't even make it. It was a failed exploration, right? But that was a fantastic. It's all about his perseverance and the teamwork. So the book which I read is from Kerala Shastra Sahitya Parishad, and from that moment onwards, I really, somewhere back of my mind, I wanted to go to this beautiful continent. You see. Then in 2016, I got an option to go to, the Copenhagen for a conference, International Seaweed Symposium. Then whenever I travel, I get an opportunity to go. This conference is fully paid. So then from that place, I take travel here and there. So I went to Norway, all the way to Tromsø to see this kind of like a bizarre midnight sun, isn't it? So it's like 11:45 was the sunset, and the midnight 12:15 was the sunrise. Never experienced in my life, you see. And in Oslo, I got into a museum, a very beautiful museum of, it's a nautical museum called FRAM, F-R-A-M. So in case any of the listeners get a chance to go there, please check out this museum, FRAM. The whole museum is just one ship. It's a wooden, you see, and it's a schooner, the wooden schooner. And this ship is probably the most famous ship in the nautical history of the world, because it was in this ship that Roald Amundsen, a celebrated Norwegian explorer, went to Antarctica for the first time, 1902. So he was competing with Scott, right? Amundsen and the Robert Scott of the Britain. So, well, he reached the South Pole first, right? The Roald Amundsen. So after visiting this FRAM and touching and feeling this museum, and I really wanted to go there to Antarctica. So I became intentional. I applied with what I want to do that. My project was about profiling the taxonomy of algae and other floristic diversity in and around those regions, and also in relation with the climate change. You see, so I submitted this proposal, and I got a call after shortlisting to defend it. That stage is over. I got selected, but then again, that was a conditional selection. The next stage was 1 week long medical test. So because this is a very strange place, around 4,000 kilometers from the civilization, the nearest city in Antarctica, the place where I have been, was Auckland in New Zealand. So to reach Auckland itself is, it's not that easy, right? So in case you get any kind of a mild heart attack, not a big deal if you're in a city, but in Antarctica it's gone. Survival chance is extremely less. So that is why they are really particular about medicals. And it was only conducted in AIMS in New Delhi, no other places. And yeah, everything they checked, even the tooth X-ray. First time in my life, why should I go for a tooth X-ray? Because fractured wisdom tooth will invalidate your application. You see, and also the treadmill stress test and echo, and even the liver function. I mean, it's the liver scan. It's, you name it. Even urine test. A very interesting test called cotinine. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of this biomarker. And the cotinine is a very simple test. It's already 5 rupees even today. It's a routine test. Usually the test is employed by health insurance. If you take a very expensive health insurance like 1 crore, they will definitely go for cotinine test. So the biomarker cotinine will be positive in case you smoked a cigarette in the last 3 years. 1 cigarette, 3 years, positive result, unless you cheated. So if the cotinine is positive, if you are a smoker, you cannot go to Antarctica. And also traces of fatty liver disease in your liver invalidates it. Okay, anyway, I got through that test as well. Then the final stage of selection is 3 weeks long training in Himalaya by Indo-Tibetan Border Police, ITBP. And Satluj Glacier, it's something like scouts. I was very much part of the Boy Scouts when I was in school. So different tying and different, survival things which they taught us. But more than that, I think the limiting factor of the training is every day morning we actually pack our rucksack with around 60 kg and then walk the whole day with the slanted valleys. Walking with these military guys, super fit guys, was really challenging. And because the level is also pretty low, we stop and grab for oxygen. So that was a really tricky training that I underwent. Then the journey we flown till Cape Town, and from there we took a Russian icebreaker ship. So this a particular Ivan Papanin was the name of that ship, because India don't have any icebreaker ship, right? So unless you have icebreaker, you cannot get into the Antarctic. So yeah, it was a bizarre experience in my life. In Antarctic, you see so many of the optical illusions I saw. For example, after sunset or before sunset or sunrise, there is a green flash. You can see only in the, the this one, the polar regions, isn't it? And glacial blue ice, ice completely blue in color. So many kinds of iceberg I saw on my way. And in Antarctic, it was really bizarre too. When I reached there, it was, in December is the summer, isn't it? It's in southern hemisphere. You see, polar opposite, the northern hemisphere. So in summer in Antarctic is 6 months of light. So Antarctic gets just one sunrise and one sunset per year. And guess what? These days are, equinoxes, right? So these equinox, the so-called summer and winter equinox, right? Basically March equinox is September equinox, isn't it? 21st, 20th of the March, and again 20th of the September is this equinox. So from September equinox till March equinox, it's all a day in Antarctic. So when I was there, it was just the daytime. And you see, this equinox is also very interesting. These are really days that we should celebrate, but we completely forget. In India, for example, these are Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, a very revered day if you read the ancient scripts. But now, how many of us even remember it? Now I can connect this incident with Japan. In my 5 years time in Japan, you see, Japan also have several holidays, right? Not a single holiday for religion. You might think, okay, Japan is a Buddhist country. Not really. Shinto is the religion, but most of the Japanese don't even have any religious faith. Almost 80% are atheists. But anyway, they respect nature a lot. So among the Japanese holiday, not a single holiday for religion. Buddha Purnima is not a religion. And even Christmas is not a holiday there. Only very few countries where Christmas is not a holiday is Japan. And what are the holidays in Japan? These are the holidays. Equinox, day for ocean, day for nature, day for trees. So yeah, that is very interesting. Yeah, this the sunrise and sunset what we celebrated in Japan in the form of national holidays. And in India as well, thousands of years back.
Yeah, that's true. I think that experience. I myself personally, of going or Arctic to actually see the flora and fauna there, especially the penguins. I really love.
Yeah, coming to penguins. So I saw the first time in Japan, the Japanese who made of the Japanese and that was not really in nature. So in nature, my is four penguin beaches of the TikTok. In Africa, South Africa do have naturalized penguins, the more Alexander von Humboldt, greater German explorer, right? And these penguins were very when I was in Antarctic. So Antarctic has so many different kinds of penguins. A chin strap penguin, the first is not the job, and yes, I mean, so like and not actually get to see that. So that those are really good. animals, even penguins. So yeah, this is one of the things which I shared often in my channel. I have a YouTube channel called
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Felix Bast.
Curiosity.
Yeah, so in my channel, I shared this story so many times because I think it is really worth an attention and worth spreading. This not many people are aware of, especially
Yeah.
girls. In the high school, girls, boy girls, please beware of milk in the packet. In India, we all drink milk in the packet, right? So unfortunately, this milk being fat, the packets release several estrogen analogs like BPA, BPS, phthalates. A large number of estrogen analogs get into the milk, and when you drink it, it can actually do or elicitate biochemical reactions in our system, just like what estrogen will do. So one of the very nasty outcome of that is cysts in ovary, the so-called polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, very prevalent now here in India.
Yeah.
And also this PCOS finally results in infertility. Again, it's rising everywhere, isn't it? So unfortunately, this is the one major issue. The BPA and BPS is not banned in India. It's banned in your country. I mean, the country where you're talking from, Rajguru, and even the less fortunate countries. I mean, less affluent countries like, for example, Thailand. Thailand and India. If you see the GDP-wise, Thailand is nothing. But Thailand also banned it, BP and BPS. Unfortunately, here we haven't banned it. So something everybody should be aware of. Even the tea that you take it from IRCTC, isn't it? The train tea. They call it as like a paper cup. No, it is not a paper. It has got a thin layer of plastic in it. It gets leached. And also when you order a food from Zomato and Swiggy, nowadays everybody does it, right? It's trendy. So how about that it comes in a container that also do have lining, plastic lining, and especially the plastic. These chemicals leach when the food is hot or oily. So these two things are your enemy: hot and oily food. So going back to Antarctic, what really happens when these microplastics and nanoplastics get into the penguins? Because your question is about the penguins. Guess what? Same. Just like human being, penguins also have PCOS. Can you believe it? And penguin population is also shrinking rapidly now.
Yeah.
Because of the infertility in penguin caused by the microplastics. So I think this is actually the situation of the plastic pollution is going beyond any imaginable limits. So yeah, it has to be a combined global effort, and it has to start from the personal level.
I see. I think I recently read a news that I think it was about penguins or elephants. I don't remember. But recently there was a news that the animals also have the PCOD. Maybe penguins only. I don't remember the species name.
I'm not sure about elephant PCOS. PCOD. Yeah, but yeah, many of these animals can have it too.
I see. So now we would move towards the end of this event. So I think we would ask like two last questions, very short one. I think one from Satyarth and one from my side. So I think Satyarth can go ahead.
It's a delight listening to you, but keeping the time in mind, I would like to ask that, reflecting your journey as a scientist and science communicator, what are the 3 most valuable lessons you would like to teach our participants today?
So, well, and in this time of our life, you see, we are living in a flood of information. So, you have to be very particular about which information to consume, right? So, critical thinking, I would like to highlight that. Please take a course on critical thinking. So, yeah, we completely missed out in our school days. And even in the university, we don't know anything about cognitive biases and logical fallacies and mental heuristics. People think, okay, it is a niche topic of psychologists. Not really. For everybody, friends, the critical thinking is extremely important. I wrote a book on critical thinking. It's called Life Skills. You can get from my website too. Not that expensive book, right? And also this critical thinking, I shared a lot of videos in my YouTube channel too. Please, you can check it out. It's all completely free, and my channel doesn't have any monetization running. Though it is a popular channel, yeah. So I would say critical thinking is one of the most important aspect of detecting the fake news and propaganda, advertisement gimmicks, all those things. It will really enable you with that skill. Second one is, the second one I would say is the a basic life skill training, just like the book say, right? So many things, the common sense is not so common in the world. People tend to consume something which is really sophisticated solution rather than simple solution, right? Occam's razor concept of critical thinking. I'm not sure how many of you know this concept of philosophy, rather, that the simple explanation and simple solutions tend to be much more elegant than really complicated solution. Why to simply go for complication if the simplicity itself is thing. For example, for example, daily you drive your 4-wheel drive air condition on, and you reach your workplace and take an elevator to your air conditioned lab, and you just vice versa and go home, and then go to a air conditioned gym to do what? Step up machine. You go up the step. So why you want to do all these things? So if it is the workplace is approachable within like 5 kilometers, you can simply go by a cycle. Friends, I don't even have a car. I'm not intending to own a car in my life. You see, and elevator I hardly take. I simply take stairs. My workplace is at fourth floor. So why to go for unnecessary complication? So the life skill, the second skill which I want to emphasize is that some of the basic life-saving skill, I think we all have to learn. The top skill I suggest everyone is swimming. So how many of us as an adult know swimming? It's such a fun activity. Please learn. It is, it can save your life or somebody else's life. The third one is, be more kind, and be conscientious about others. Don't be so judgmental. And the problems too. I don't think that it's a solution for just show more kindness. Also be forgiving. Not always, but take a limit. Just show more forgiveness to everyone and to make life so much easier.
We have invited many professors over So just to give you a background, so one of the professor who came, so she said that discovery of HCl was the most important for the scientific world.
Okay.
Yeah, because it has H plus and Cl minus, and that's where she thinks that the chemistry, biology, and physics and everything actually would have started. There was one professor who said like the PCR is important. So maybe as per you that you admire the most.
Well, yeah, it's not a discovery, but it's theory of evolution. I would say it is it is a really a keystone theory, the theory of evolution by the Charles Darwin, especially on the natural selection. The concept of natural selection had such a big impact on our outlook, right? Till then and before and after is completely a two different world, I would say. Before Darwin, it was something like a human as the top of everything, right? So everything is human-centric worldview. But he completely, he was an iconoclast, isn't it? He simply brought that world into pieces. Right now, friends, we are simply one of the multitude of animals, isn't it? So, so the life as we know it is around 10 million, isn't it? So we are just one among that 10 million. So that is, I think that's really profound with the huge implications, not just in sciences, but also I was privileged to work with linguistics too. When I joined in my university, I applied for I had an idea, right? I do work with statistics, computational sciences, and the evolutionary biology to trace the evolutionary history of plants. That is the phylogenetics, right? Then I have the same idea. Okay, why not propose something like this to Indian languages? We have 22 official languages. So this language you can construct one database, data matrix, ordered data matrix of all this thing with various grammatical related things. Then use Bayesian statistics to construct the tree, to trace evolution. So, well, I proposed this idea to the Indian Council of Social Science Research. I have zero background in linguistics, right? I didn't thought they will approve, but yes, I won that project. It's a major grant, So this is the linguistics, historical linguistics, earlier and later. Post Darwin, the field completely changed. Now we use Darwin's point, various Darwin's natural selection is now we can even apply that into the evolution of languages, evolution of even biomedical field, right? How that some of these viruses are being spread, who are the super spreaders. You can actually see that the forensics, and from where COVID-19 came from, for example, right? So we trace that into the fruit bats. So by evolutionary, the theory of evolution too, right? So every single field, even a science communication, an essay, whatever essay that you're writing, for example, an essay about yawning, right? Add a little bit of evolutionary perspective in it, can make significantly better the essay, right? What is the evolutionary role of that yawning? I mean, what not, right? So every single topic, if you can throw a little bit light on the evolution, it can actually make much better. So the evolution lights up everything. Dobzhansky famously said, right? It can, the theory of evolution lights up every single aspect of our life, and not just Darwin, but also the theory of punctuated evolution, also, right? Stephen Jay Gould, I'm a big fan of him. I have read most of the works of Gould, right? He's from the US, while Darwin is an Englishman. So I would say, theory of evolution, I would rate it as the most, pivotal scientific paradigm shift happened till date. Yeah.
I think the survival of the fittest. So I think with humans also it would be the same. Maybe after 100 years, not soon.
Yeah. Well, he famously said that it's not the intelligent, the one who survives, right? The one who is adaptable, the one who is changing with its surrounding. I think that is something really profound wisdom in history.
Yeah. I think we are almost end to the event. So I would like to thank our participants. I would also like to thank Professor Felix first. That please come back on SciComm Synapse again. We would like to talk more about also your research and also many other things. I am sure many things were left today due to short of time. And also our participants that please stay tuned for the upcoming events. We would have good speakers as well in future. So thank you so much for sharing the knowledge, Professor Felix. It was one of my most admiring I would say event today, because I always wanted to invite you because I listened to you during curiosity, and also I think you hosted a program few years back where you
Science,
invited yeah.
science leadership.
So yes, science leadership program. So I was part of that, and I was part of uh, entire event, and I was really inspired by that. If you do something like this next time, please definitely think of us. Especially me, I would like to join you in any of the way I can help you with that. So
Yeah, thanks so much, Rajguru as well as Pandey, for having me here. It's my pleasure to spend some time with you and to discuss my thoughts. And yeah, I'm really happy about this initiative. Please spread the knowledge, of
yes,
science and scientific
yes,
method. I think it's
yes,
the most powerful weapon we have to fight the pseudoscience and the fake
that's
news.
true.
Right? So
Yeah,
yeah, my
that's
best
true.
wishes for Synapse and wonderful job.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so much.
much.
Thank you,
We
sir.
will share you the YouTube link
Sure.
soon after we edit a little bit. And for your information, we had more than 100 participants today. Fantastic. So thank you so much. And uh, I wish to host this again with you.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Thank you,
Bye.
sir.
Bye bye.